can something so simple be turned into something this complicated? How can something that should be so easy be this difficult to figure out? This is the reason that your league has never turned a profit. This is the reason that your inbox is filled with overdraft notices from your bank. This is the reason you never have money in your bank account. This dump has absolutely no idea how to effectively run a business. You know, one of my good friends, and I'm sure everybody has a friend like this, but I have one particular friend who seems to be a magnet for disaster. We have known each other since we were in middle school, and if something bad is going to happen, it is going to happen to him. When we were about 20 or 21 years old, he had just bought himself a used car. He had upgraded from his 1970s tank that he used to drive to a 1993 piece of shit. But, you know, it was all he could afford at the time. He's driving home late one night. We had been at the bar for hours. He ends up getting T-boned by a driver who doesn't have car insurance. Car is completely totaled. My friend, he had insurance, but he couldn't call the cops to file a report because he had been drinking. His brand new piece of shit that he had just bought, it's no longer drivable. 2 years later, we are stuck in heavy traffic leaving downtown. It was Mardi Gras. I'm about 5, maybe 6 cars behind him, but I see him waving his hands out of his window. He's bobbing his hands up and down with his music blaring, acting like a damn fool. A minute or two later, some dude walks up to his rolled down window and he shanks him 3 or 4 times in the stomach. Now, it was a case of mistaken identity. The dude thought that my friend was someone else. He ends up going to the hospital. The bill ended up being around $10,000 or $15,000. The reason it was so high, my friend didn't have health insurance. I could sit here for the next hour and tell you story after story of the bad luck happening with this particular friend. In most cases, though, it wasn't bad luck. He didn't have this negative energy following him around waiting to strike at any second. His biggest problem was he was his own worst enemy. Here we are 20 years later, ain't a damn thing changed. He's a good dude, great dude, hard worker, he's loyal. If I needed something right now, he would drop whatever he was doing and he would be here in seconds. But he can never get ahead because he can't get the hell out of his own way. It is the same thing in the WNBA. For the first time in the history of this dump, they are on the precipice of possible greatness. For the first time ever, they have a superstar in this league that not only has the ability to draw a mainstream audience, she also has the ability to play actual basketball, not pretend basketball. Caitlin Clark is a legitimate professional basketball player, but for some reason, the WNBA just can't seem to get the hell out of their own way. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. I know you guys are excited. I know you have been waiting with anticipation for this all summer. Sunday afternoon, the chase for the golden toilet finally begins. Well, KC, what is the chase for the golden toilet? You know, if you're new to the channel, I can understand why you're asking that question, because the mainstream media, they refer to it as the WNBA playoffs, but the technical name for it is the chase for the golden toilet. Every year, the winning dump in the WNBA finals, they secure access to the golden throne and bathrooms with running water throughout the off-season. Somehow, in a league with only 12 teams, 8 dumps qualify for the chase. That makes sense to me, but what the hell do I know? I use stationary bathrooms. I don't use portable lavatories. But the 8 teams competing in the chase for the golden throne this year, the New York Liberals, the Atlanta Dreamers, the Minnesota Linkers, the Phoenix Masculines, the 2-time reigning defending champions of the Golden Throne, the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces, the Seattle Shitfucks, the Female Sons from Connecticut, and last but most certainly not least, Caitlin Clark. Now, I'm assuming most of you in this audience aren't consistent viewers of the WNBA. You might watch Caitlin Clark, but I would imagine that you are not paying attention to the rest of the league. For a lot of you guys, it's probably the same with the NBA, but If I were to ask you to name 5, maybe even 10 players in the NBA, most of you would be able to do it. If I were to ask you to name 1 player in the WNBA, not named Caitlin Clark, not named Bob Griner, would you be able to do it? The vast majority are going to say no. The vast majority of casual fans in the WNBA, which are the only fans that exist in this league, the vast majority of them, they are watching for one reason and one reason only: Caitlin Clark. The same Caitlin Clark who has been performing miracles all season. Not only has she elevated this rancid dump into the mainstream, she has also found a way to miraculously carry the worst team in the league to the playoffs. Now, with all that being the case, you would think the WNBA marketing department would be working overtime promoting the shit out of the playoff debut of Caitlin Clark. If so, you would think wrong. Check it out for yourself. This is the promo that the WNBA tweeted last night to promote the chase for the golden toilet. Now, I'm sure you've already noticed a few things here. Number 1, they made sure to highlight their diversity. They included Bob Griner to appeal to their masculine feminine fan base. They included Sabri Ionescu so they couldn't be accused of lacking diversity. If you were to walk by this poster on the street, you would think it was one of those posters featuring missing women, because outside of Bob Griner and maybe Sabrina Ionescu, every other player on this poster is unknown to most of the population. The young lady that's wearing the Indiana Felines jersey, does anyone know who in the hell she is? Does anyone recognize her? For all I know, she could be a fan of the Indiana Felines. Now, the obvious omission from this poster is Caitlin Clark. Someone, please, make it make sense. This would be like the NBA promoting the playoffs and excluding LeBron James. This would be like the NFL promoting their season and Patrick Mahomes is nowhere to be found. Hell, the NFL, they included Taylor Swiffer in their promo for the regular season, and she doesn't even play in the league. That's what smart businesses do. They promote stars. Earlier this year, The Rock, he returned to the WWE. I believe he competed in a fake fight at WrestleMania, but I guarantee you, if you looked up WrestleMania posters from this year, The Rock is all over them. Why? Even though he hasn't been an active performer in 20 years, he is still the most recognizable mainstream star in the WWE. That's how it works. You use your star, you use your cash cow to draw people in so they can become familiar with your other performers. At least, that's how it works everywhere else. Damn sure not how it works in the WNBA dump. What the hell are you doing? And don't worry, Cathy Engelbert, that was a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer because Uncle KC knows exactly what you were doing here. Cat is more worried about catering to feelings than catering to the bank account, which is a luxury that you have when you are being subsidized by someone else. Cathy Engelbert, she doesn't have to worry about making money because she knows that the NBA will always be there to bail her out. I guarantee you, the exclusion of Caitlin Clark from this promo, it is a direct result of what happened earlier this week, or maybe it happened last week. Whenever the hell Cathy Engelbert was interviewed on CNBC, and she refused to accuse fans of Caitlin Clark of mythical racism. Dump divers in the WNBA got pissed off about it. Cathy Engelbert issued an insincere apology. A couple of days later, the league that prides itself on inclusion excluded their only star from their promotion for the playoffs. Cathy Engelbert is responsible for this. This is the reason the dump has never turned a profit. Cat would rather cater to feelings instead of catering to the WNBA bank account that has been bleeding for 30 years. I don't know about you guys, but feelings are never getting in the way of my money. To make matters worse, Cathy Engelbert, she decided to start the WNBA playoffs on Sunday. This is the middle of September, right? This is the time of year when the NFL dominates everything on television, right? The NFL is so dominant on Sundays, other networks, they literally program around it. The NBA, they won't schedule nationally televised games on Thursday nights until January. Why? Because they don't want to compete with Thursday night football. Here we have the WNBA, a league that struggles competing with infomercials featuring the Pepperidge Farm guy. And they are scheduling the start of their postseason to compete directly against the NFL? Now, in her defense, I highly doubt that Cathy Engelbert had much of a choice here. Unlike the NFL or the NBA, which tells the networks when they are going to start, and the network just adjusts their schedules around it, I would imagine that the WNBA just takes what they can get. Cathy Engelbert might not have a choice when it comes to which day the playoffs are going to start, but I would think that she has a choice when it comes to which games are in which time slot. With this being Caitlin Clark's playoff debut, you would think that the WNBA would schedule her debut in prime time. Normally, Sunday afternoon time slots are prime real estate, but with this being NFL season, it is useless to air anything on a Sunday afternoon. What time does Caitlin Clark debut on Sunday? 2 o'clock in the afternoon. She literally tips off as the early slate of NFL games are entering the fourth quarter. But KC, as she aired in prime time, she would be competing against Sunday Night Football. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's really a lose-lose, but I would rather take my chances and compete with one NFL game than to go on at 2 in the afternoon and have to compete with the entire league. You know, it's going to be interesting to see what the ratings are on Sunday. This is going to be the first real test of Caitlin Clark's drawing power. She has been competing with nothing throughout the summer. For the first time, people will have a legitimate choice. Are you watching the NFL or are you watching Caitlin Clark? Give me your prediction here. For the most part, Caitlin Clark has averaged around 1 million viewers this season. Will she be able to draw 2 million, 3 million while competing against the NFL? Also, what do you think about the WNBA excluding her from the promo? I think it's disrespectful. I think it's a slap in the face. Hell, you could make the case that Caitlin Clark has been dealing with disrespect throughout the regular season. But why do you think she was excluded? I gave you my reason. Give me yours. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.